There is rich, and then there is something entirely different. The kind of wealth that does not just buy luxury, but reshapes reality itself. The kind that allows someone to wake up and decide to build rockets, redesign transportation, influence global communication, and still casually move billions of dollars like it is pocket change. That is the world of Elon Musk. But here is where it gets interesting. If you expect a story filled with gold mansions, diamond-covered watches, and endless yachts, you are about to be surprised. Because Elon Musk does not spend his billions the way most people imagine. In fact, in many ways, his lifestyle looks almost minimal. And yet, at the same time, it is one of the most insane lifestyles ever lived. Because instead of spending money on luxury, he spends it on control, ambition, and ideas that most people would never even dare to think about. So the real question is not how rich he is. The real question is how he uses that wealth to shape the future. Let us step inside that world, because once you understand how Elon Musk actually lives, you will realize this is not just about money. It is about power, vision, and obsession. And it is unlike anything you have seen before. At one point, Elon Musk owned multiple luxury mansions in Los Angeles. Huge properties, breathtaking views, high security, everything you would expect from a billionaire. But then something unexpected happened. He sold them. Not one. Not two. Almost all of them. He publicly stated that he wanted to own no house. Think about that for a second. A man worth hundreds of billions choosing to live without owning luxury real estate. That alone breaks the typical billionaire stereotype. Instead, reports suggested he moved into a small, prefabricated house near the facilities of SpaceX in Texas. A compact home, simple design, minimal comfort compared to what he could easily afford. But that does not mean he lives a simple life. Not even close. Because Elon Musk does not spend his money on comfort. He spends it on building things that most people would call impossible. Let us talk about where the real money goes. Companies. Massive world-changing companies. Tesla is not just a car company. It is a bet on the future of energy and transportation. Billions of dollars have been poured into electric vehicles, battery technology, and global infrastructure. Then there is SpaceX, which is trying to make humans a multi-planetary species. Rockets that land themselves, missions to Mars, satellite networks covering the entire Earth. This is not normal spending. This is spending on a scale that changes industries. And here is the key detail. Most billionaires diversify to reduce risk. Elon Musk does the opposite. He concentrates risk. He reinvests huge portions of his wealth back into his companies. At multiple points in his life, he was close to losing everything because he believed so strongly in his vision. That is not just confidence. That is obsession. Now pause for a moment and think about this. What would you do if you had billions, luxury cars, private islands, endless vacations? Elon Musk could have all of that. Instead, he chooses stress, pressure, and constant work. Because for him, money is not the goal. It is fuel, fuel for bigger ideas, fuel for bigger risks, fuel for building things that outlast him. But that does not mean there is no luxury at all. It just looks different. Take transportation. Elon Musk does not collect dozens of supercars like many billionaires, but he does own some unique vehicles. One of the most famous is a Lotus Esprit submarine car inspired by a James Bond movie. Not because he needed it, but because he found it interesting. Then there are private jets. Time is the most valuable asset for someone like him. So flying commercial is not practical. He uses private jets frequently to move between locations, manage companies, and maintain his intense schedule. This is where his spending becomes strategic. He spends money to save time. And time for him is everything. Because his daily routine is not what you would expect from a billionaire either. There are no long vacations, no slow mornings, no relaxed schedules. Instead, his days are packed with meetings, engineering reviews, decision-making sessions, and constant problem-solving. He has been known to work over 80 to 100 hours per week, sometimes even sleeping at factories during critical production periods. Imagine that, a billionaire sleeping on a factory floor. That tells you everything about how he views his life. Comfort comes second, mission comes first. And this mindset extends to everything. Food, for example, is not a major focus. He has admitted in the past that he often skips meals or eats quickly just to save time. Not because he cannot afford the best chefs in the world, but because eating is not a priority. That is a completely different approach to wealth. Most people use money to slow life down. He uses it to speed life up. Now let us talk about something that truly defines his lifestyle: risk. Elon Musk has taken risks that most people would never consider. At one point, after selling PayPal, he invested a huge portion of his money into Tesla and SpaceX. Both companies were struggling. Both were close to failure. If they collapsed, he could have lost almost everything. But he did it anyway, and that decision changed everything. Because today, those companies are among the most influential in the world. That is the difference between ordinary wealth and visionary wealth. One protects, the other gambles. But here is where things become even more interesting. Elon Musk does not just invest in companies. He invests in ideas that sound like science fiction. Neural interfaces through Neuralink. Underground transportation systems through the Boring Company. Global internet coverage through Starlink. Each of these projects requires massive funding, massive risk, and massive belief. This is where his billions truly go, not into luxury, but into building the future. And that creates a lifestyle that is both fascinating and exhausting. Because when your life revolves around such massive ambitions, there is very little room left for anything else. Relationships become complicated. Free time becomes rare. Privacy becomes almost impossible. Every move is watched. Every decision is analyzed. And yet he continues. Now here is something that most people overlook. Even though Elon Musk avoids traditional luxury, he still enjoys certain experiences. He has a known interest in technology, gaming, and science fiction. These are not just hobbies. They influence his thinking, his companies, and even his long-term goals. For example, his vision for Mars colonization is deeply inspired by science fiction concepts. That is where imagination meets reality. And when you have billions of dollars, you can turn that imagination into something real. But there is also a cost, because living at that level means constant pressure. Every success raises expectations. Every failure is magnified, and there is no easy way to step back. Think about this carefully. When you build companies that impact millions of people, you are not just responsible for yourself. You are responsible for employees, investors, customers, and entire industries. That weight never disappears, and it shapes your lifestyle in ways that are hard to understand from the outside. Elon Musk has faced criticism, controversies, and intense public scrutiny throughout his career. His statements, decisions, and actions are constantly debated. But despite all of that, one thing remains consistent. He keeps pushing forward. Because his lifestyle is not about comfort. It is about momentum, and momentum does not stop. Now let us step back and look at the bigger picture. Most people see billionaires as individuals who have reached the top and are now enjoying life. Elon Musk represents something different. He is still climbing, still building, still taking risks, and that makes his lifestyle unpredictable. Because when your goal is not just wealth, but transformation, there is no final destination, only the next challenge, only the next idea, only the next impossible project. And that is what makes his life so insane. Not the money, but what he chooses to do with it. Now here is something that will make you think. If Elon Musk decided today to stop everything, he could live a life of unimaginable luxury. Private islands, global travel, endless comfort. But he does not choose that. Instead, he chooses difficulty. He chooses pressure. He chooses to work at a level that most people would avoid, even without money. And that says something powerful, because it shows that for some people, success is not about relaxing. It is about creating. It is about building something that changes the world. And that requires a completely different mindset. And here is where the story becomes even more intense. Because as his wealth continues to grow, so does the scale of his ambitions. It is no longer just about electric cars or reusable rockets. It is about reshaping how humanity lives, communicates, and even survives as a species. That level of thinking changes how money is used completely. Take Starlink for example. Launching thousands of satellites into orbit is not just expensive, it is one of the most ambitious infrastructure projects ever attempted. And yet, Elon Musk continues to push it forward, aiming to provide global internet access even in the most remote parts of the world. That is not luxury spending. That is civilization-level investment. Then there is his long-term vision of colonizing Mars through SpaceX. Think about how insane that sounds. Building a self-sustaining human presence on another planet. This is something that entire governments have struggled to achieve even partially. And yet, he is pouring billions into making it real. Now imagine living with that kind of mindset every single day. Your problems are not normal problems. Your goals are not normal goals. Your risks are not normal risks. That creates a lifestyle that is constantly on the edge, always pushing forward, always demanding more time, more energy, more focus. And maybe that is the real secret behind Elon Musk's insane lifestyle. It is not about how he spends his billions. It is about how his billions allow him to think beyond limits. And once you start thinking like that, there is no going back. So when you think about Elon Musk and his billions, do not just think about money. Think about what that money represents. Opportunity, control, freedom to take risks that others cannot, freedom to fail and try again, freedom to think bigger than anyone else. And that is where his lifestyle becomes truly unique. It is not built around luxury. It is built around vision. And sometimes, that vision looks crazy. Sometimes it looks impossible. But sometimes, it becomes reality. And that is the part that keeps the world watching. Because, whether you agree with him or not, whether you admire him or criticize him, one thing is certain. Elon Musk is not living a normal billionaire life. He is living a life that is constantly pushing the limits of what is possible. And that is far more powerful than luxury. Now think about this. If you had the same level of wealth, would you spend it on comfort? Or would you risk everything to build something that could change the future? Because that choice defines everything. And in Elon Musk's case, it is what makes his lifestyle one of the most fascinating stories of our time.